Hey guys, so yesterday I played this crazy game which inspired me to record this short video. It started out as a modern Scandinavian, and after knight to f6, white actually has a few choices how to continue this game, and I analyzed a few novelties on my channel. If they continue with greedy c4, you can play a crazy Gandalf Gambit, and if they continue with something like knight to c3, you can go for this exchange and you can play what I call the Xena attack. Very fun stuff. Makes your opponent blunder like crazy. But what if your opponent is prepared and plays the best move in this position? So after knight of f6, if your opponent finds d4, it means they are prepared. And here you get to play the crazy Portuguese gambit with bishop to g4. Well, in this position, white also has a few options how to continue, but the craziest lines arise from the move pawn to f3. So I just move my bishop back to f5, and since this pawn is still hanging, my opponent played pawn to c4, trying to hold on to the material advantage and, creating this big blob of pawns in the center that seems pretty solid. So, I played pawn to e6, trying to chip away some of the pawns. So he happily grabbed my pawn, and now let the craziness begin. Here, the best move for black is knight to c6. And my opponent were like, dude, are you crazy? I can just win another pawn and make you lose your castling rights. Well, you are correct, but this is what I planned all the way, you know? This reminds me of the Gandalf Gambit where you also develop the king to f7, so this rook can come very quickly to the e-file and start some nasty tricks. On top of everything, in this position that has already been reached like 9,000 times on leashes, 86% of white players blunder on the next move. You see, the issue with white's position is that we are attacking this pawn twice, and there is not a good way for white to hold on to the pawn. But they are going to be trying to hold on to it anyways, and the most played moves are either pushing the pawn to d5 or playing bishop to e3 to hold on to the pawn, but both of these moves are losing mistakes. Uh, my opponent played bishop pawn to d5, but let me first talk about bishop to e3 because this is a position that Magnus Carlsen actually once played. And you can here exploit the underdevelopment of white pieces by bringing your bishop to b4 with check. So they are naturally going to block this check with their knight, and after that you can bring your rook to the e-file. And this just complicates life for white so much, because, well, now this bishop is hit, also this pawn is now hanging because the bishop is also pinned. So what is white going to do? Well, what everybody seems to be playing in this position is king to f2, and this move looks like it solves all the problems, because now the bishop is covered by the king, and also now the bishop is covering the pawn once again. So white can simply hold on to his material advantage and win, right? No. Rook captures the bishop. And, well, they have to recapture the rook. And in this position, there is a crazy winning move, which also Magnus Carlsen missed. It is so crazy. Well, he did find a winning continuation, but he didn't play the best move. And the best move is bishop to c2. I told you it's going to be crazy. The point of this move is that we want our bishop to be captured because now the queen has left the guard of this pawn, and this is actually forced checkmate in 15 moves or so. I'm not sure if you want to see it or not, but let me just quickly show you the moves. So king goes here, we give this rook check, so knight blocks, we capture, there we capture, we check, queen has to be sacrificed like this, captures, king goes here, check, king goes here, we go knight here, they're going to develop their knight, we go check once again here, check, and now they have to block these checks like this and get rid of their pieces so that we can get rid of our knight, and then this is checkmate. Perhaps you are wondering what if the queen didn't capture our bishop. So going back to this position, we just went bishop c2, crazy move, trying to make our bishop be captured. Well, if they don't capture it, then, well, they go d2 because they want to hold on to this pawn to stop us from checkmating them. Well, here we have another crazy move, and it is knight to g4 check. You see, just hanging our pieces left and right, trying them to capture it, because if they do, we have a winning blow with queen to g5 check, and as you can see, we will be winning the queen. Even if they try to hold on to the queen like this, then simply rook to e8, and we separate the white couple and grab the queen and just win easily from here. Alright, well, let's go back. This was the Magnus Carlsen's game. In my game, my opponent blundered the other move. So in this position, the most played move and also losing one is to push the pawn to d5. So I continued with knight to b4. Now I'm threatening to fork this poor king and his rook. So pretty much everybody in this position plays knight to a3 to cover the c2 square. And after that I developed my bishop to c5. And here he played bishop to d2. I see his point. This move is understandable. He wants to get rid of this annoying knight. But unfortunately for him, I was prepared in this line and I knew that the best move is knight captures on d5. So I'm hanging my knight, but the point is that I want my queen to be able to access this diagonal, and it doesn't matter if he captures my knight, I still have enough pieces to deliver the checkmate, because I can go rook to e8 check. Now he's forced to block this check with something. If he would have blocked it with his knight, then simply knight to d3 is checkmate. But luckily he played the other move, which is bishop to e2 to block the check. And here is a funny checkmate, including a queen sacrifice. And I went queen to h4 check, so he blocked it with his pawn. Then knight to d3 check, king to f1 is forced. And here queen to h3 check. The knight captures the queen and the bishop recaptures with checkmate. I suppose that my opponent thought that I'm a cheater because I played perfectly, but I simply learned this line about a year ago because I got fascinated with these Portuguese Gambit variations and I knew what are the best moves. I also made a video about this opening like a year ago and I mentioned this particular line in this video. It can be found on my Facebook page, although it is in Slovak language. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Portuguese Gambit as much as I do. And well, have fun, take care, and bye.